A few people ask me like which position is best to get started in remote sales, either the setter or the closer. And in this video, I'm going to be going over the pros and cons of both setting and closing. And in the end, I'll give you my personal opinion on which one is best starting out. So first off, we'll start off with setting because that's what most people are aspiring to get into with remote sales. And the first reason I think it's very beneficial compared to being a closer is that you don't have to show your face. You don't have to look nice. You don't have to dress up. You don't need a haircut, a trimmed beard, or anything like that. And you can be as ugly as possible. You don't have to really show up. You can wear PJs, smoke weed, as long as you're doing the numbers and doing the work necessary in order to make money and stay on the offer. Then number two, this is another pro, is that it's very chill and very simple. Like I was just saying, you can literally just wear PJs all day. One of my good friends, Christian, in Romania, he made around 22,000 a few months ago as a setter, which was actually more than most of the closers on that offer. And all he would do all day was lay in his bed, have PJs on, and smoke weed. And he made 22,000 a month. So that just kind of shows you, like, being a setter, you don't have to be all that professional. You just have to do the numbers, do the work, and set up very nice calls for the closer to close the deals so that way you can actually make money. And number three, this is another pro with being a setter, is that you can literally work whenever you want. Like, you don't have a desk, like a set time that you actually have to work. It's just a matter of actually doing the numbers. And it doesn't really matter when you do these numbers. It could be right when you wake up, lunchtime, or right before you go to sleep. All that matters is that you're doing the KPIs that the CSO or the influencer, the coach, whoever you're working with, as long as you're doing the numbers that they set you to do. And I mean, of course, you want to be doing more than that, so that way you kind of outperform and set your spot on the offer, then you're good to go. It doesn't matter if it's early, late, as long as you're doing the right things to stay on the offer and to do the numbers to make you money, to actually solidify your spot on the offer, then you're pretty much good to go. This one is actually a con, and that is that it is actually a lot more work than being a closer, because with being a closer, you literally just have your calls on a Google Calendar and you just show up to these calls and that's it. But as a setter, you're digging through the CRM, which is a software system that they use to have all their leads placed. And you have to call them, text them, email them. And you do have to do a lot of numbers, like 150, 200, maybe even 300 outbound. And that just does take a lot of time. So it is a lot more work and will take a lot more energy out of you. And with this as well, this leads on into number 5, which is you have to deal with DQs, people that are a lower quality of people. And what I mean by that is sometimes you're gonna be calling these people and they're just gonna be absolute assholes. They're gonna call you names, they might curse you out, they might just hang up immediately, they might just think you're a scam. All these types of things will happen as a setter because not everyone is warm and very hot and ready to buy. That is like probably 60 to 75%, but the other 25 to 30%, they're not gonna be warm. They're gonna be absolutely cold. You're gonna have to deal with DQs, people who have no money, that have scarcity mindset, and they're gonna immediately shut you down, hang up, and maybe curse you out. So that is another con with being a setter, is you have to deal with a lot of BS. And number 6, this one is a little bit mixed in my opinion, and that is less earning potential. Now what I mean by that is with setters, they're usually making anywhere from 5 to 9% of the percentage of the commission from the sale. So let's just say they get a $2,000 sale. What is that? Let me do the math real quick. Yeah, so if they get a $2,000 sale, that's only $100 in their pocket. So they get a little bit less percentage than the closer, who usually gets anywhere from 10 to 20% depending on their role on the offer, of course, and how close they are to the influencer. But I mean, you really do have a less potential in terms of your earnings, but it really depends on what your goals are, because if you want to make 4 to 10,000 a month, a setter, you can easily do that. I mean, especially with the closer, but I mean, you won't be able to have the higher percentage that the closer has, but you can still earn very good, like my friend Christian in Romania. It just really depends on what your goals are and like how much you actually want to make, and then finding an offer that aligns with your goals with being a setter. And number 7 is that you do have to depend on the closer to close the leads that you set up for him. And I can personally say that that's absolute shit. Back when I first landed in Bangkok, Thailand, I was a setter for a B2B roofing agency company type of thing. And I set probably 10 to 15 calls before I quit, and none of those calls closed. And I swear, like, some of them are like lay down closes. Like, I could have sold them myself if I knew how. I was very scared at the time. I started a little bit of savings when I first came. I had like 1,500. So I didn't have that pressure yet to start selling. So I was like, okay, I'll just set them up to the closer and see what happens. No closes happened, and I went down to $0 flat broke. You guys kind of know that story, but won't go into that. But yeah, you have to depend on the closer for you to make money. And sometimes that's not really great, especially if the closer isn't good. Then you have to rely on someone else. You're kind of like throwing up an alley-oop. It's kind of like basketball. You're throwing up an alley-oop, and just imagine they keep missing the ball. They keep trying to dunk it, but it keeps hitting the rim and bouncing out, and you're never getting that assist because they're never making the shot, the dunk, whatever it is. So it's always kind of good to just have yourself and depend on yourself. So that way it's on you, whether or not you make money or not. Number eight is that you are more replaceable, especially with AI in the next probably 5 years. They'll probably take over appointment setters because they're asking very basic questions. They're not diving deep in the discovery like a closer would. So you are a lot more replaceable. So it's very important that you solidify your role. You're doing the numbers and doing more than asked, and getting a lot of numbers in terms of like set closes. So that way you solidify yourself on the position. You earn the respect of the CSO or the influencer. So that way, let's just say AI comes, they won't be able to replace you because they respect you and they want to provide you a source of income. But if you don't have the skills, the work ethic, you're very easily replaced and you'll be kicked off with a snap of a finger. Number 9, we'll move back into one of the pros as a setter, and that is you get very little objections and less friction with setting the appointment, because it's so much easier setting an appointment than closing a deal. Asking for $5,000 to $10,000, $15,000, that's a lot harder than actually just setting up another call with the closer. So you have very little problems actually setting up calls. It's just a matter, you just need to qualify them, make sure they're a good fit, they have pain points, all that good stuff, so that whenever they hop on the closing call, they're good to go. Number 10, last but not least, you can literally just work in bed, like I was saying. Like you can literally just relax. I literally, as a setter in Bangkok, the first 3 to 4 months, I was just laying in bed with my girlfriend, calling, texting, emailing with my phone, because with the Go High Level Close.io, you can literally just download it on your phone and work in your bed, at a restaurant, on the beach. It's literally like the lifestyle that I saw, like coming out there to Bangkok town. I was like, no way that's actually real. No way they're actually working on the beach and doing all that stuff just from their phone. But I mean, it's just absolutely true. I did it myself. So now that's pretty much everything for the setting side. Now we'll move over to the closing side. Now, number 1 is that closers, from what I've seen, 90% are making more than all the setters that I know. And that's because they have a higher percentage, and that they're working a little bit more because they're getting inbound calls from organic leads, people who have already booked themselves to hop on a call with a closer. And you're getting 10 to 15 to 25% of these closed deals. So you're making a lot more than most setters. But number 2, it's not a pro or a con, but you do need a lot higher skill set. And there's a lot more pressure on the closer side than the setting side, because it's literally on you, whether the money is coming in for the business into your pocket, the setter's pocket, and the influencer's pocket, or money's lost. It's gone back in the funnel and no one's earning any money. Number 3, this is actually a con, and that is the no-shows and DQ. Sometimes you're hopping on these sales calls as a closer, and maybe they just don't have any money whatsoever. They have bad credit. They can't apply for financing or anything like that. And they're just a waste of time. So a quick tip for you guys, if this does happen, you don't want to just leave the call and end it on cold terms and make them turn away and be like, oh, well, that guy, well, shit, he just hung up on me. Just be like, cool. So, I mean, right now we're currently full in so-and-so's mentorship, but it seems like you'd be a perfect fit. So if you don't mind, maybe you can book another call in next month or 2 months down the line, however you want to say it. Say, I think you should apply then because we actually have some spots opening up then. So that way they're like, oh, okay, cool. So they feel good, they're good to go. And you can just say, kind of push them off like that instead of being rude and just making them a cold lead. You don't want that to happen. It's bad for the business. It lowers your frequency, and you want to be able to make them feel good as well. You don't want to just call them broke. That's kind of sad. Number 4, this one, I personally think it's a pro, but some people might think it's a con, is that you have to show your face and you have to look nice. You have to look the part to be a closer, especially if you're selling for a fitness offer. You don't want to be some fat bum hopping on a sales call, trying to tell someone that they need to buy a program to get in shape when you're fat yourself. It just won't work. You need to be able to look the part of whatever course, product, mentorship, coaching, mastermind, whatever you're selling. You need to look the part that's already successful in whatever endeavor that is that you're trying to sell. So for me right now, I'm selling like a crypto DeFi offer. I've gotten into crypto myself. I know a lot about crypto. My friends are all in crypto, so it's very easy to talk about. Anything financial offers, I love talking about it because I love money. I'm not obsessing over money, but I just love the fact that you can make money to fuel your dreams and to go to where you actually want to go in life. Because if you don't have any money, how do you expect to do anything? And then number 5, this one is a pro and con at the exact same time, depending on the person. And that is you have a much longer conversation than you would on a setting call. Now with the setting call, it usually takes anywhere from 5 minutes to maybe 15 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes if you don't know how to do a setting call. But with a closer, it usually takes anywhere from 20 to 40 to 45 minutes, depending on the objections, the discovery, and everything in between. So it is a little bit longer, but the pro thing is that you do get paid more for it. So I don't think there's any worries there at all. But some people, they get a little bit bored, they get a little bit fidgety. They can't have that attention span to actually focus in on the prospect and actually be present on the sales call. So it might not be good for some people who have TikTok brain, but for me, I love talking to people, I love meeting people, and I love helping people change their lives. So it's no problem for me whatsoever. Number 6, this is an absolute pro, is that you're able to change people's lives. Now this is of course if you're selling something that actually works. If you're selling a scam, something that doesn't work, and you're selling for like the scam guru, a fake guru or something like that, first off, you're basically going to be selling your soul a little bit. Second off, it's not going to be very fulfilling. So you want to be able to find an offer that's able to actually help people level up their lives. And that's what I found for myself. One sales call I had literally like a week ago, his name was Jesse. He actually lives 3 hours away from my hometown in Noonan. And his goal on the sales call was to make $5,000 a month. And guess what, guys? He's now making $30,000 a month, which is 6 times more than his original goal. So texting him and seeing him on Instagram flexing the new car he bought with the crypto, DeFi, all this stuff, I was like, oh, let's go. Change a life, baby. So, I mean, it really depends on the offer that you're selling. That depends whether or not it's fulfilling or not. So you need to find an offer that actually helps people. So that way it is fulfilling, because if not, you're going to be lying, you're going to be feeling great. You're not going to be able to sleep at night because you're lying to people. Yeah, this is going to change your life. And then you see them a week later working at McDonald's again. So you want to find an offer that's actually legitimate and helping people change their lives. So that way it is fulfilling. Now, number 7, we already kind of talked about this. All the money that comes in, it's totally reliant on you, whether you get the close or not. Because if you don't get the close, there's no money coming in. You're not able to change their lives, and all the pressure is on you. And I think that's a pro, to be honest, but some people, they might think it's a con as well. But being able to be fully reliant on yourself for money, you get to see what you did wrong, what you did right, and to be truthful with yourself, and ask yourself when it didn't work out, like, what did I do wrong? How can I do better next time? So I think it's really great. So that way you can reflect, have some retrospect when you're looking back on the recording and seeing what you did wrong, so you can keep leveling up over time. Number 8 is that you do get a lot more respect and you're a lot less replaceable, because as a closer, especially when you solidify and learn the offer inside and out, it's very hard to be replaced. Because think about it. Once they kick you off, they have to find another closer. This closer has to start brand new. He has no idea what the offer actually entails, and he has no idea what the prospect's pain points are. So it's very hard to find a new closer to replace you, because you're so used to selling for that offer. You know the pain points, you know the audience very well, especially if you're very close to the influencer. So you can easily feel comfortable on these sales calls, and the influencer is comfortable having you as a closer, because I mean, you know the offer just as good as the influencer, coach, mentor, whatever it may be. And yet with the respect, the setters respect you more, the influencer definitely respects you more, because you're actually bringing him a lot more money. So you get a lot more respect as well, which I found to be very great. It's very good for networking, especially with the influencers. And another thing that I'd like to add is that you get to learn the whole system. If you're starting as a setter to a closer and working with the influencer, you get to see the back end, the front end, the marketing, and everything in between, which is very good for learning everything about how that business works. And number 9 is that this is kind of a con, is that you have to show up on the calls on your Google Calendar, and there's no way around it unless you, of course, like reach out, call them, text them, reschedule it, or anything like that. But you have to show up at these times. But the thing is, like, you can literally just set your times to when you actually want to work. Like right now, my calendar is open from 8 a.m. to 12 a.m., midnight, and I only have 2 to 5 calls a day because we're like a very tight kind of offer at the moment, but they're very high qualified leads. So it's very good for me, the influencer, and it just really depends on what your goals are. That depends on how much you need to work to actually achieve those goals for yourself. And then number 10, this is pretty much something we already talked about as well, that you get to have this connection with the influencer a lot more closer than you would as a setter, because as a setter, you don't really get in touch with the influencer that much. You're kind of looked at as like a pawn. But as a closer, you're more kind of handheld with the influencer. You get to talk to him, her a lot more often than you would as a setter. So you get to get the value from the influencer, their insights, their knowledge, their skills. You get to learn and connect with these influencers a lot more than you would as a setter. So now those are the 20 things I need to go over with setting and closing. And now for my personal opinion on which one is best for you to get started in, I would say setting. Because as a setter, it's best to start off because you get to put in the numbers, you build up work ethic, discipline, you get to learn the whole system. So that way you start as a setter, you do this for like 3 to 4 months, move up to a closer, do that, and now you know the entire process. So that way, let's just say your calendar is empty, the setters are shit, and you want to make some money. You already have the skill of closing, so now you can easily set yourself up some leads and get yourself some money. So once you start off as a setter, you're able to build up that skill of setting, and then you get the skill of closing once you move into that. So that way, if the calendar is empty, you can set and close your own calls. So that way you have money coming in forever. So, I mean, it really depends on what your goals are right now, where your skill set is. All these things I went over in today's video, you can weigh out the pros and cons and see which one would be best for you. But I'll leave it to you guys. It's really up to you whether or not you want to start as a setter or a closer, but I would recommend a setter. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video today, and I will see you guys tomorrow.